A plus is a must. Hello viewers all across the globe. Today is May 15, 2024, and I present to my biological father a farewell of our relations, and for reasons included in the following public letter. I am young Master King A+, the son of the Queen A+. This open letter and farewell is to my absent and abusive biological father, Grzegorz Robaczynski. Grzegorz Robaczynski, you have lost my trust, never regained my respect, and I don't feel safe around you. I never did anyway. This is my open and final farewell message to you and for the entire world to see. This letter and testimony is public for safety reasons and concerns. Grzegorz, I won't be communicating with you any longer. Communication between us would not only be a conflict of interest since you are a new defendant in our active human trafficking lawsuit, but it would also make me uncomfortable due to the factors of no trust and understanding between us, which I do not wish to mend with you. First point, my acknowledgement of your suspicious behavior. Ever since we reconnected with electronic communications between each other in summer of 2023, and after your long and neglectful absence in my life, you have been suspicious to me regarding your odd actions, statements, suggestions, and communications with Mom and I. Particularly about our active federal and state human trafficking lawsuit, among other things. Second point, your child support debt misappropriation, current refusal to support me, and the backstory of why. You owe a great financial debt of child support to me, which has accumulated over the long span of your absence in my life. You misappropriate and extort my child support from me, and you toy with me and Mom's expectations of you paying off your debt. Instead of just sending sufficient support, you created a non-negotiable deal, choosing to dictate how we use the support, breadcrumbing us and giving us ultimatums, all while we are targeted and trafficked here in Riverside County, Coachella Valley. Instead of just paying your $60,000 debt, you offered me to pick an old used car within an $8,000 to $10,000 range that you offered to pay cash for. I declined your odd offer and asked for just the funds for the car or entire debt owed. And you refused me, suggesting you know best of how the support should be used, controlling me and my mom's financial decisions, causing us great hindrance and leaving us in limbo with human traffickers. It's none of your business how we spend your child support debt, and it's not up to you to decide how to spend it for us. Our life is in danger, and you relish in our suffering, causing us unnecessary stress and delay, wanting us to beg you for what you owe us anyway. You tried to force us to get a used car after Mom and I already told you that case defendants Richard Rico Lurtz and Dana Dorset sent cartels to stalk and drive us off the road in the past, when we were driving and living in a U-Haul truck right after they stole our Range Rover, home, assets, and intellectual property. Your demands are unfair and unreasonable, as well as overbearing and controlling. Mom told you multiple times that she didn't feel safe driving a car, and that we needed the money instead for immediate food, shelter, and safety. I even suggested to you a payment plan based on your outright offer to spend $10,000 on a car, and proposed to you that you send the money you offered for the car in payments of $2,500 a month to me for 4 months. And you still denied me. Mom and I were completely exhausted and surrounded by danger during that time. And with your support, we would have been stable enough to rest, finish service of our lawsuit, and even recover our resources sooner. But you didn't want to see that happening, nor did our traffickers. When me and Mom mentioned starting a fundraiser to support our lawsuit and casework, you shunned us, our fundraiser, and case efforts. You refused to send sufficient support to us as we fended off deadly gangs and human traffickers, all while trying to continue to work on the lawsuit in a staged destitution. You even told me, "I'm not going to give you any money to support you with your case. You hit a brick wall, just give up." You even bought a $500,000 home during the year we were trafficked, but didn't care about me or even send any support towards my well-being? Is this some kind of joke to you? Who do you think I am? You wanted me to trust you and blindly accept your odd and delirious offers, all while you deny my requests, so you could obtain custody after 9 years of absence to divide me from my mom and ruin our lives? You expect me to allow you to play with our hope and expectations out of desperation? No, that's not happening. I'm young Master King A+, the son of the sun, the son of A+. No desperate circumstance will provoke me to be a coward or make foolish decisions or demoralize my honor. I'm not some incompetent pushover who would abandon my mother and queen for you or anybody. "9 years ago, you decided to stop supporting me and my life because you didn't agree with my name change from Corey King Robaczynski to Young Master King A+, stating that you would never call me a king or YMK, and that I was just an ordinary boy. After you intoxicated, date raped, and impregnated my mother while she was unconscious and without her consent, she let it slide, didn't press charges or call police, and still, she gave you her forgiveness. I'd personally say that's very generous of my mom. After my mom realized she was pregnant while filming the Taquita and Cowie show on MTV, and almost a year later, you lied to my mother while I was still in the hospital a few days after my birth, promising her marriage to obtain my last name as yours. After Mom believed you and your proposal, she made a big decision and moved from Las Vegas to Michigan to be with you. And then you suddenly refused marriage and then sued Mom for custody after 10 months of consistently seeing me after my birth. You never deserved me bearing your last name in the first place. You cheated. You premeditated stealing me from my mom, who was successful, single, and independent before your scheme. "8 years after I was born, you stopped paying any support because my mother corrected a mistake that shouldn't have ever been made, after she changed my first and last name from Corey King Robaczynski to Young Masta King Aplus. Now you continue to not pay owed support, and all while we need it now more than we ever did before. My noble personality and name change is not justification for your neglect over the years or recent neglect, disrespectful, and dismissive behaviors. Third point, your recent lies about past communications and my past attempts to reach out and call you for help. Within the time span of some of our last and recent telephonic communications in late 2023, you lied to me saying you never knew the circumstances of me and Mom's trafficking, knowing that both Mom and I reached out and spoke to you numerous times in the past few years to convey to you our emergency. I told you from my own mouth in 2021 that we got robbed of our home, car, and inheritance by human traffickers, or Riverside County's secret society, by way of forgery, fraud, and judicial corruption, and trafficked to a staged destitution. That call ended with me screaming at you for laughing and shunning us. We became immediately destitute and homeless after the fraud and trafficking against us, and we called you for help. You mocked us, saying, "You just want what you want, and I can't help you," even though you knew I was homeless, hungry, and in danger, and you had the means to support us. Fourth point, your broken promises with the stabilization agreement we made. In mid-2023, you eventually agreed to support me beyond the welfare my mom applied for, and to help stabilize us, but was short on following through with your agreement. You helped, but it ended up to be a much shorter period of time for your assistance than agreed upon. Instead of your promise of 4 months rent for immediate stabilization, you afforded us 3 weeks in a motel and 3 weeks in an Airbnb. During this time of temporary stability, I reported back to you that I gained weight due to the ability to finally get some rest, along with Mom's home-cooked meals, and was working on and achieving progress on the lawsuit. And after you heard that, you immediately denied sending any more stabilizing support. Our progress caused you to break your promise and want us back on the streets, isolated by our traffickers and without electricity or Wi-Fi. It was obvious that you and our enemies did not want us resting or working on our amended lawsuit, depriving us of sleep, electricity, and Wi-Fi, obstructing our justice and keeping us in constant danger. Fifth point, your attempts to physically see me and my just refusal. Since last summer, you have attempted to force your way back into my life physically and against my will because you claim you want to come and see me, despite the fact that I told you multiple times that we cannot afford your visit and are completely busy working on the lawsuit. I told you that I would make time to get to know you after the case was completed, a reasonable demand. Despite this, you've tested your limits by attempting to come and see me anyway, You kept mentioning next week flights out to California and even gifts that you want to bring me. I don't want your gifts. I don't want to see you, and I don't want to reconnect. We are on bad terms, and you can't avoid the repercussions of your abusive and treacherous actions. You really have tested your luck here, and you failed. You really think I'm some idiot. I knew you could never change. You are jealous, and like our enemies, you want our power and to feed on our pain and cause even more. Not on my watch. Sixth point. Your past abuse to me, no connection between us, and how I feel about it all. In the past, when I used to visit you those long years ago, you were usually drinking liquor and being abusive, either physically hurting me or emotionally hurting me and controlling me. You punched me in the face, blacking my eye. You cut my long hair off against my will out of jealousy, then spiked it up with gel to make it look like yours. You intentionally gave me the herpes simplex 1 cold sore disease you carry by kissing me on the lips knowing it was active. You took my phone when I wanted to communicate with my mom. You duct taped my mouth shut to prevent me from defending myself against your bullying. You punished me for doing proper things that my mother taught me, like respecting myself or asking for privacy while going to the bathroom. Perfect example. I asked you for privacy in the bathroom, and you refused to leave the bathroom and grabbed nail clippers and sat between my legs on the floor while I was going number 2 to clip my toenails. I was completely uncomfortable, and you knew it, but didn't care, saying, "My house, my rules," and other excuses. When I asked to leave and fly back to my mother before my visit with you was over, you got on the floor and began to pretend to cry in an attempt to persuade me in wanting to stay with you longer instead of leaving to my mother. I was at the age where I needed assistance washing and detangling my hair, but you didn't help. You caused me to fly back home to mom with super lice. You always taunted me saying, "You come from my nut, you come from me," which was a completely inappropriate and ridiculous way of trying to dominate me or make me submissive to you. The list goes on and on. I am happy to example how my talents, intelligence, genetics, and other melanin abilities are made possible by my mother's regal bloodline. I am the son of the sun. I am the son of God. I am the son of Aplus. All of these examples of your abuse towards me happened while I was under the age of 8 years old. And I'll be 18 next year. Even back then, when I was around you, there was never a connection between us. You only dropped me off at the YMCA just to bring me back to your apartment where I played games, used my phone, or watched television. I don't remember a time you ever told me about your life, who you are, what you like, or even teaching me the Polish language, culture, or history. I remember our occasional biking, playing tennis, going to the park, and skiing together, but that's really it. Just recreational activities. I don't know who you are, and you don't know who I am. And it's creepy that you show up after all these years wanting my trust or respect or even custody of me. You don't know me. You may be my biological dad, but you are a complete stranger to me. You never made me feel safe or honored, and you still don't. I never liked you as much as Mom, and I never will. Seventh point, my beliefs of you aiding and abetting the defendants of our lawsuit based on your recent actions. Back to the present day, I believe you to be involved with the defendants and government in our case, who are after my mother and I for not only disallowing ourselves to be sacrificed, but also fighting for our rights, our identity, our inheritance, and for exposing them online, around the community, and in court. You were offered a large sum of money to attack me and my mother, and you signed the papers, indulging into selfishness and pure greed for a corrupt financial and business opportunity, based on your ability to exploit me and my mother. It's odd how you never questioned our emergency and circumstances. You aren't concerned about it, and you never asked questions about the danger we're in, or even who's responsible. Multiple times I shared with you my concerns about the cartel, traffickers, government, defendants of the lawsuit, their acts against us, and our dangerous circumstances, and you simply ignored me as if I didn't mention it at all. And when Mom mentioned the actions committed against us by the defendants, you told my mom, "You're saying things you shouldn't say." You dismissed and denied our efforts to bring justice to criminals, even though our active lawsuit's trial hasn't even begun yet. What do you even mean? The truth is always relevant, and Mom and I only speak facts about our situation. You left us hanging. You left me in danger and destitution on purpose. You deliberately left Mom and I vulnerable to homicidal human traffickers who have poisoned us multiple times before and since your denials. I could have been murdered. Mom could have been murdered. If Mom or I made any wrong decisions during our trafficking and attempted sacrifice, we would have ended up dead. But thankfully, every day, our instincts saved our lives over and over and over again. Mom kept me safe as we faced the dangers of corrupt government, corrupt law, cartels, and criminals, all tied to the current lawsuit. I can't thank my queen enough. My mother has raised me my entire life. She is and has always been at my side. She saved my life multiple times, and I saved her life multiple times. I honor and respect our bloodline, name, and all that we have accomplished together, not only as mother and son, but as victims and survivors of what we have suffered together. You want to help the defendants and traffickers of our case rob and sacrifice us. You wanted to keep me and Mom in danger and destitute for a sacrificial murder ritual. You want to help scum criminals. You want to steal our inheritance for yourself. You disgust me. And I never want anything to do with you again. All I expected from you was for you to care and support me, like a father should. Not support my enemies. You refused, and have changed our timeline in support of our traffickers, causing us prolonged suffering and delayed judicial proceedings. So we bring you, along with our traffickers, to judgment and responsibility. Eighth point, the consequences of your actions. You messed up. You lost the trust, respect, gratitude, and reconnection we could have had. All for what? A corrupt opportunity with twisted rewards? Well, you can go and take the walk of shame anywhere away from us along with your new partners and affiliates. Stay away from me and stay away from my mother. I mean it. I don't want to see you again. You are the one that messed up here. Regret is the worst pain in the world, and I see it all coming your way. But that's for you to deal with. It's not my responsibility or mom's responsibility. We will not be your scapegoats or come up. We deserve our lives, our identities, our honor, our inheritance, and perfect peace. Trying to sacrifice me and my queen and help bandits steal our inheritance and life force is unforgivable. Grzegorz Robaczynski, this is goodbye. A plus is a must.